Hey everyone, this is Tony Teaches Tech. I'm Tony, and in this video I'm going to show you how to install and use the Nginx Ultimate Bad Bot Blocker. And this, among a lot of other things, blocks bad bots on your website, your Nginx served website, and also prevents DDoS attacks. So let's take a look here. This is open source software. It's available at github.com. If you just search for Nginx Ultimate Bad Bot Blocker, you will come to the source code here. And yeah, like I said, it does a lot of different things. This page right here will tell you what it does as well as how to install it. But I'm pretty much going to go through the installation process for you, show you some of the gotchas that I came across, and yeah, I'll prove to you that it's working by the end of the video. So let's go ahead and do that. The website that we'll be working with today is called micro.domains. It's one of my it's one of my websites where you can find short domain names with just 3, 4, or 5 letters. So a shameless self-plug there. Anyway, what we're going to do is log into your server, which I am already logged in here. This is the server of the website for microdomains. And what we're going to do is grab the code. So the first line of code that we're going to execute is a pretty long one. It's this one, and again, all of this code specifically will be either on my blog or directly from github.com. So this is basically going to download this installer file and put it into our user local sbin directory. So let's go ahead and execute that, and I will paste in my password here, and there we go. So that has quickly executed. Let's go ahead and change the permissions for that to be executable. So chmod +x for that installer file. And now we can actually execute that installer file. So we're going to do sudo install -nginx blocker -x and let it do its thing. So it's going to rip through here and put some files in place, including the following 2 files, which we want to also make executable. So this file here at user local sbin setup nginx blocker, they just say ngx blocker, and then this other file at the same location, update ngx blocker. So what we're going to do is call the setup I'm just going to say nginx blocker. So sudo setup -ngx blocker, and with the x argument. And what this is going to do is read your configuration files for your Nginx server, which I have 2 here. It's asking, do you want every file above as a virtual host? Do you want to configure that for bad bot blocker? I'm gonna just do micro domains if it lets me do that. And it did not, so we're gonna do them both in that case. There's some gotchas here, so that's why I was very hesitant. So let's just say yes, we're going to use both of those files, and it pretty much goes through those 2 files and adds 2 lines of code. Well, yeah, 2 lines of executable code. So let's take a look at that. Let's go to our etc nginx directory and sites available. And we want to look at the micro domains configuration file. So in here, you don't know what it looked like before, but just trust me that these 6 lines total, 2 lines of executable code, are what the installer file did for us. So just because I like everything the way it should be in line, I'm going to move those over. But what I've noticed is that it does not do a good job of putting these executable lines of code in the configuration file. So what we're going to do is move this from down here, and I think part of this is because I use certbot to install my SSL certificate. Basically what you want to do is inside of your server block right before the first location directive, let's put that code. So all the way at the top, make sure you have these includes for the bots.d directory for DDOS and block bots. Okay, and let's see if you have multiple configuration files in here. Well, let me just show you what would happen if we don't move those definitions up above. So if we do sudo nginx -t, It looks like it's okay in this case, but sometimes you might see a configuration error if those aren't in the right place. So anyway, let's continue on. If we have to come back, we can do that. But let's go ahead and do a sudo system ctl restart Nginx to apply those changes, and no output, so that's good. We're good to go. All right. Now, as far as everything's in place, it's working now. But I just want to address this up front that we want to update the latest version on a daily basis for this bot blocker, because basically, I'll show you in a bit. It's basically a list of bad IP addresses, bad refers, bad domain names, all that stuff. I'll show you what that looks like, but we want to update that list on a daily basis because it's an ever-growing list and we want to be on top of it. So to update it, you basically execute this this file here, update Nginx blocker, and we'll just try it out right now. And it says latest blacklist already installed. So we need to set up a cron job to do that automatically for us. So we can do that with sudo cron tab -e. And if the first time you're using cron tab, you can pick your editor. I like using Vim, so I'm going to pick 2. And if you don't know how to use Vim, I have a video for that. But anyway, this is pretty much what we're going to do. And you can choose what time of day, how frequently you want it to update. But we're going to update ours at 10 p.m. server time. And we're basically going to call that that executable here, the update Nginx blocker that we just created. And if you want to, optionally, you can add an email to get notifications of that happening. So that's what that looks like. So let's save that, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. It's automatically going to get the latest definitions of what bad bots look like and so on. So next, let me show you what we actually installed. So let's look around in the etc Nginx directory, and one thing that was installed in here was the bots.d directory. So let's actually go to that location and then go to the bots.d directory. And in here you have your blacklists, okay? Your blacklist for IPs, your blacklist for user agents, bad bots, bad refer words, and DDoS, denial of service. And then you also have whitelists for domains and IPs, so you might want to whitelist yourself. And all of these files in here are configurable by you. You can come into one of these files, and we'll actually do that later. We won't do that now. We'll come into these files, and I'll actually add my IP address to blacklist.ips.conf and show you that it's actually working. But another way that we can show you that it's actually working is to do a test. Like we can simply open up a local terminal session here, and I'm going to use my cheat sheet over here and show you that if we try this curl command, so this has been identified as a bad refer for a website. So if we try to curl with this header to microdomains, what Nginx is essentially going to do is, instead of serving the page to that, it's just going to drop the connection and send an empty response. So we should see that happen here. And yep, we get a empty reply from the server. And one more thing that we can try, just to show you a different example, this domain name has been identified as a bad domain name from the perspective of the bad bot blocker. So if we do that, we should see a similar output, and we get an empty reply from the server. But what's really cool, if we minimize this and this, the website still works for me because I am not on that list, right? So but we will show you that we can add ourselves to the list just for testing purposes. So anyway, where are these definitions found? Where can we find the definitions of all of these bad bots? And that would be not in the bots directory, so we'll go up a level. It's in the confd directory, and it's called globalblacklist.conf, and there's a lot of information in here. So in order to, I have to use sudo to get in there. So in order to navigate around here, what I like to do is search for the hashtag space start, and then just kind of sort through here. So this is the custom blacklisted user agents. This is the start of the bad bots. So you can see this is a really long list of bots that have been identified as negative for your website. And then we have good bots. So Googlebot, that's a good bot. And again, if you don't like Googlebot or BingBot or any of these bots, then you can add them to your custom list. We also have additional allowed bots. We have bots that we want to limit. We have bad referrer words, whitelisted domains, and that's reading in those configuration files that we looked at earlier. And keep going down here, reading in some more configuration files. Bad referrers. So here's a whole list of referrers that we don't like. And they're in the format of regular expressions, some of them. And then we have fake Google bots. We have WordPress theme detectors. I don't know what Nibbler is. And then bad IP addresses. So this is a whole long list of bad IP addresses that have been identified, again, as negative for your website. So that's where all of this information exists. You do not want to edit this file. Please only edit the files under the bots.d directory. And that's what we'll do next. Let's go back into the bots.d directory and let's add my IP address to the blacklist for that. So we'll do sudo blacklist, sudo black. Are we in the right directory? Yeah, so sudo vim blacklist IPs. And here, this is basically for any of these files, pretty much this similar thing that you'll do. So right here, to give you an example, if you wanted to blacklist this IP address, you would simply add your own line here with the IP address and a 1 to block it or a 0 to not block it. So let's find out what my IP address is and put it in here. So I'm going to go to what's my IP, and I want my IPv4 address, so we'll get that from this website. So we'll copy that, and then we'll come back over to our configuration file, paste that in, put a 1 next to it because we do want to block that, and save that file. So we can restart the Nginx server for those changes to be applied. So sudo systemctl restart Nginx. And now if I go to my website, micro.domains, because I am requesting it from my IP address, it should send me an empty response. Let's try that out. And we do. It says this page isn't working, empty response. So it's doing exactly what we want it to do. Now, that's not a good thing. I don't want to blacklist myself. So I'm going to actually remove that, save the file, restart the Nginx server. And that's going to now unblock me, not block me from accessing my own website. And we'll try it one more time. And now I have access to the website again. So guys, I have a whole bunch of other videos on spam bots. I recommend that you check them out for WordPress as far as making a WordPress blacklist, blocking spam comments, all that stuff. If you're interested, check it out. Subscribe for more videos like this from me in the future. And if you do, I'll see you in the next one.